We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. So I just realized my mic was off. What's up, everybody? So what a way to go. So StreamYard has all these new features, and I decided to test these features today. So I'm creating all these scenes on the sides, and you can see that I'm having difficulty. So I should have practiced it in the background. Oh, well, this is what we do when we go live. But yes, we got Stephen Barone on tonight. And we're going to be talking about his series, the Dirty, the Filthy, and the Dead. I have to say it again because I don't know if you caught it the first time. What's up, Lou's in the house? Yes. Yay! Yeah. So, Texoma Comic-Con, what can I say? It was fantabulous. It was stupendous. It was amazing. You know, last year was the first event in Texoma, in Oklahoma. And it was in Choctaw, Oklahoma, by the casino. And great reception last year. But this year, it was probably Saturday was probably the single best day since I've been in Texas in the past 3 years of me appearing at any convention. It was amazing. The reception was crazy. The people were amazing. People came back from last year. It was just fantastic, and I was so excited. So I also got to be on a panel. It was hosted by Gabe's Cave. So we did a live panel interview. That was fun. You're going to see clips on the vlog that'll be coming out in a week from now. From the entire time, George came out. We hung out. We hung out with Lori Calcaterra. She does Path of the Pale Rider. We hung out with William Russell, and he does Cycle Sal. And so it was fun. I can't say enough. I'll be back next year. The fans there were amazing. Everybody that picked up the book last year came back this year for the follow-up. And that was even more impressive. I was like, you know, it took me by surprise. And I'm talking to you as I'm posting simultaneously, because normally George will start talking and I'll start doing all the stuff in the back end. You know, I need an engineer. This is ridiculous. Join us. So that was that. That was Texoma. This week and next week and coming up, I'll be at LitCon. Second appearance at LitCon. Last year was amazing. And if you saw the vlog from last year, I had a good 4 hours. It was amazing. The reception was amazing. But then, you know, Thor and Zeus decided to fight, and the storm clouds came and the thunder and the hail, and then everybody just left. So that ruined it. But it was a great event. I'm looking forward to this year. The promoters of this event, they actually take care of us. They actually buy us burgers and fries and drinks and chips, and it's really done well. It's a small show. It's an intimate show. It's at a library, but it is about maybe 50 of us, 50 artists, and no celebrities, none of that stuff. It's just creatives, but the families come out and they pack it in, and It's like standing room only, right? You're like shimmering down the aisle. Like, excuse me, pardon me, coming through. Excuse me, pardon me, coming through. Right. So it's pretty dope. So I'm looking forward to LitCon. But then I was supposed to have two shows in April and May. I was supposed to do WeebCon, and I was supposed to do I forgot the name of this big giant gaming comic event in Dallas, and it's like 4 days and it's massive. But I decided that I'm going to use April to just focus on the campaign because I launched the campaign in April. You're saying, what campaign, Sam? What you talking about? Man, if you don't know, you're going to know now. So I'm just going to remind you that Duty is celebrating his 20th birthday, his 20th anniversaries. April 5th is when Duty was created. April 5th is when Duty landed on Earth. April 5th is when I was driving through the Lincoln Tunnel and Duty showed up in my head and he says, "Hi, I'm Duty from Uranus." And that was it. And that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And we will be celebrating his 20th anniversary. We'll be launching book number 7, No Boo for You. And it's hilarious. It is amazing. But just in case you don't know, let's play the trailer.
All right, folks. Buckle up because things are about to get wild. Picture this, a quiet suburban home, the perfect setting for a cozy evening. Right? Wrong. Alan thinks he's got a ghost problem. But little does he know his house is ground zero for an intergalactic showdown. Alan calls in the ghost hunting pros from No Boo for You. These guys are legit, armed with EMF detectors and night vision goggles. But wait. Bobby, Alan's son, and his crew are on a mission of their own. They're convinced it's not a ghost, but an alien. And they might just be right. Enter Duty, the green alien causing all the chaos. Now Duty is not just any alien. He's on the run from nasty piece of work, a fleet of alien pirates entering Earth's orbit. They want Duty back and they're not playing nice. Meanwhile, Agent Doe, our no-nonsense government agent specializing in extraterrestrials, is hot on Duty's trail. At the same time, Herman the Chihuahua is losing his mind in his cage. This tiny dog is determined to catch the green visitor. Picture this. Herman barking his head off, Bobby and friends armed with makeshift gadgets, and ghost hunters stumbling through the dark. Oh, and let's not forget Agent Doe, methodically scanning the house with his high-tech equipment. Every corner of Alan's house is alive with mystery and excitement. The ghost hunters are convinced they've got a spectral situation on their hands. But Bobby's team is working every angle to prove it's an alien. Duty is desperately trying to stay hidden, dodging both the human and extraterrestrial threats. And just when you think it couldn't get crazier, the alien pirates make their move. Will Alan's home survive the ultimate showdown? Will Bobby prove his alien theory? Will Herman finally get his moment of glory? Stay tuned to find out, if you enjoyed this wild tale.
Yeah, and if you haven't done so already, scan that QR code right there on the screen and sign up today. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And do you know that when you do sign up, if we break 100 backers, that everybody gets this free sticker, Duty Falls sticker, right? 4-inch sticker. It's going to be dope. Everyone gets it. When we hit that 100 backer mark, that's the only backer goal that I have. Everything else is stretch goals. But for the backer goals, that's the one that I have. It's pretty dope. And what else is there? So you're going to get a sneak peek. If you're watching this, you're going to get a sneak peek. Duty's getting nostalgic on me. Duty is going back and he is bringing back the old school stuff. And you're like, what do you mean, Sam? What do you mean old school stuff? Duty's bringing back the Pogs. The what? Yes, the Pogs. So Duty's bringing back the Pogs. Duty's Monsters. No Boo for You. It's fitting for it. And you have your first volume of Pogs that's going to be available on this campaign as well. It is going to be so much fun. You can have fun. And it's going to tie into the trading card series that's coming out. And you're like, trading cards. There's a special edition trading card set just for this campaign for No Boo for You. And there it is. There it is. It's a 6-pack of cards. It's going to be on this campaign. You have 2 premium cards. You got 4 Duty cards, and then you got a Bobby card, and you got a Ghost card. So those are going to be dope. It's going to be amazing. You can only get it into Kickstarter. I'm telling you, guys and gals, it's going to be fun. I'm excited for this campaign. So much going on. So much happening. And, hey, you know that Duty has his own theme song. You didn't know that, huh? You didn't know that. And if you're not watching, you're going to miss out because I'm going to play a clip. I'll play a clip right now. You know you're not gonna do it. Yes, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. He's like, no, you're not gonna do it, Sam. Yes, I am. Watch. Give me 1 second. Don't dare me. So let me just get my volume up on my phone because I gotta play it on the phone. So you're just gonna get the chorus. You're gonna get the chorus. And that's all you're gonna get. But this is gonna be available. The track, the soundtrack, the Duty soundtrack is gonna be available on this Kickstarter as well. So it's gonna be. I'm so excited about this. But here's a clip of the chorus.
Pepper, what it's like. Beauty, the green alien trying to stay unseen. Herman thinks he's a jalapeno, bright and mean. But Beauty's not a pepper, no, he's not that hot. He's just an alien trying to avoid getting caught. Herman.
That's it. That's all you're getting. That's all you're getting right now. I'm telling you, you gotta sign up for the Kickstarter. You gotta tell your friends. And I'm looking for a dance. I want a Duty dance. I'm gonna make a music video for this. So for all my Duty fans out there, if you get that soundtrack, show me your best Duty dance, and you might be featured in the video. So it's gonna be dope. I'm excited about this. What's up, Carrie in the house? Jamming. Yes, you got a sneak peek. You got a sneak peek of this song is called Duty from Uranus. There's also a song called Duty Juice. So there's 5 songs on this EP, the soundtrack. So Duty has his own soundtrack. He's gonna go on tour. He's gonna open up for Eminem or whoever it is. He's just gonna be jamming. It's gonna be dope. Forget the Chickmunks. You got Duty now, right? For Alvin, it's time for you to pack it up because Duty's coming. Duty's coming. I'm just saying. So I'm excited about this. I have a Duty soundtrack. I have the Pogs. We have the trading cards. We got some amazing stickers on this campaign. Plus, as you know, there's 3 variant covers, and each cover has a different ending. You're like, what, Sam? You got 3 covers with 3 different endings? Yeah, no. I don't know why I did it to myself because I had to draw 3 different endings, but there's only one that's a real ending. So you're not going to know until you get that package in the mail because the right ending comes with a gift. Yeah, that's right. So you're not going to know until you get it in the mail. But we're going to have a contest when we go live. Anybody who can guess it on live, right? You too, in case you get the wrong cover, unless you get all 3. You're balling, you're going to get all 3 covers, right? But if you answer it correctly, you will win, but you won't know until you get the package, and then I'll announce it at the end. On the last day of the campaign, I'll answer who got the right after it closes, right? So you can't change it up, right? So I'm going to make sure that at the end, we're going to have a contest, and there's going to be some prizes. If you get the right cover right and with the right ending, you'll win a prize at the last day of the campaign. And for those of you who purchased the right cover, you'll know at when you get it in the mail. So that's the exciting part. Plus, you said, there's more, Sam? Yeah, there's more, man. The hits just keep on coming. There is the homage cover to Fantastic Four #1. So let me see if I have it here on the screen so I can show you on the screen. If you haven't seen it before, there it is. Bang. So there it is. There's a cover for Fantastic Four #1, and there's the variant covers. Only 3 of those covers are going to be available on the campaign. One of them is going to be a print. So you see 4 different covers. I was having fun trying to figure out which covers I wanted to use. But one of them is going to be a print, but 3 of those covers are going to be available on the campaign. And one has the right ending that ties into issue number 8. And then there's the homage cover. The only reason why I did the homage cover is because several homage cover collectors hit me up on IG and said, hey, will you have an homage cover? I was like, I wasn't planning on it. But like, oh, man. So I was like, so once after I got the 5th request, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I just got to go back to the drawing table. But and I researched and I was looking for the right cover that made sense for this book. And that one made sense. And so I'm excited about that as well. So a lot coming down the pike with Duty. With There's Nail in My Toilet. I'm taking April off to focus on the campaign. And everyone will receive their rewards in June. So it closes, I think, May 1st. So that gives me 30 days to get everything in the mail. Hopefully, you got to give 4 weeks to the printer to get it to you. So as you know how I do. Once it gets to me, I ship it out. So at the close of the campaign, I send everything to print immediately. And then once I get it in the mail, as long as there's no issues with shipping, it goes right out to you guys. And then I will be going back into the comic convention game in June. And I think I'm starting with, let's see, what do I have in June? Here it is. Boom. In June, I got TBD. So I took off. Yeah. So June, I didn't do anything. I'm doing RetroCon in July and August, Bell County Comic Con, September, College Station Comic Con, and Denton Comic Art Expo. In October, Bedrock City Comic Con and Big Texas Comic Con. Oh, I forgot. In May, I'm doing a book signing. What am I saying? Yes, I'm doing an in-store book signing for Herman. Herman has an 8-page story coming out in an anthology produced by another publisher, and it's coming out on Free Comic Book Day. And I'll be at one of the stores doing a book signing with 2 other creatives that have their 8-page stories in that same anthology, and we'll be doing multi signing at that location. And there's a contest. I mean, there's an incentive for all you guys out there. So unfortunately, this book is only being distributed throughout Texas in comic book stores. So you have to be in Texas to get it. But if you do pick it up, take a photo of you holding the book, tag me on There's Nail in My Toilet on Instagram, and then come to any convention and you'll get a free trading card, a limited edition trading card. Now, if you do those things and you come to any convention and you make a purchase at my booth, then you'll get a sketch card of any character of your choice on the spot from me. 2 ways to get some duty goodies. I'm just saying, I'm just like Crazy Eddie, just giving everything away. What's the matter with me, huh? What's the matter with me? My mom said, just be hospitable. And that's what I'm trying to do. Take care of everybody. But so I'm excited. So I shared a lot of things with you guys. We had fun. George and I had fun on the road. He's going to be back next week. So I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions for George, but we had fun. It was great bonding again. Some insight. The crew, the Cast of Craze crew, we're planning on uniting again next year for an international show. More to come. For an international show, we're going to go overseas. We're going to, as long as nothing happens between now and then with all this crazy talk that's happening on the back end. Come on, man, just peace. All we are saying is just give peace a chance. Give peace a chance, man. No beef. Yeah, you just want to create, but nothing happens. We're thinking of going to Europe and to one of the biggest Comic Cons out there. And we're doing, the boys thing. We're just going to go hang out, be nerds and fans, and check out the vibe, and probably give out trading cards and blah, blah, right? Do what we do best. And then just taking the sights, and we're going to vlog that whole trip. So everybody's in. So we talked about it. Everybody said yes. So now we're just going to pick a spot, lock in the flight and the travel, and we're going to just vlog. We're going to do some live vlogging, and we're going to do some pre-recorded vlogging too. And I'll have to edit it and mix it and send it to you guys. So that's exciting. So without further ado, we do have a guest in the waiting room, chomping at the bits. It's like, man, you got me in the green room. There's no cookies. There's no refreshments. What is this? I'm a celebrity. So we have Stephen Barone waiting in the back, in the green room. But before we bring him in, we offer sponsorships, right? You don't? Let me remind you.
Do you have a Kickstarter campaign and you're trying to figure out how to get the word out? You look online and you see the competition is fierce. Comic-Cons are slowly coming back, but in the meantime, how do you spread the word? You worked for hours creating your campaign. You post on as many social media sites as possible, trying to get the word out to no avail. Well, look no further. Why not sponsor an episode of Cast of Craze podcast, the fastest growing indie podcast in the market today? That 30-second promo can get you an extra 2 to 3 backers or more. Who knows? Let's go. Hit the link below and get one step closer to a successful campaign.
Outstanding. Let's bring in our guest. Let's go to the second screen. Right, where'd you go? There you go. What's up, Steve Barone in the house?
How's it going, Sam?
It's going good. It's going good.
Nice. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, anytime. Mi casa, su casa. Right. So it's the first time being on the show. We know, yeah. I know that you're an indie comic creator, but my audience doesn't. So who are you? Where are you talking to me from? And what do you do?
Yeah. So I'm Steve. I'm talking to you from Portland, Oregon. But I do live in Milwaukee, so it's kind of on the border of Portland.
Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, yeah, sort of. But actually, this is Milwaukee, so it's where Dark Horse Comics is located.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, the headquarters is like right down the street. It's in like on the main street of like the small downtown here in Milwaukee.
And you're
So
talking to me, you're not stalking them?
yeah. They're kind of hard to get in touch with. You can't really. It's kind of funny. It's kind of like all blocked off in terms of like you can't. They never really open up the curtains or anything.
Wow.
Like the people inside, I don't think they see sunlight. Like
Vampires.
yeah, the only cool thing about it is that they have like a display where there's two like xenomorphs and a predator, and
Oh,
like
wow.
that kind of face the street, and during the holidays they kind of dress them up. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of like a tourist attraction a little bit
That's
for
awesome.
people. Yeah, so that's probably about it though. The rest of it's just like this. They have like some posters up of some of the comics and like the Dark Horse sign, but other than that, you can't see in at all. It's just like Fort Knox of like comics. They don't want anyone like kind of intruding
Wow.
or trying to sell their stuff to them basically. But
That's awesome.
yeah, but it's pretty cool though just to have it because and across the street is like a fairly famous comic shop or comic company called Things from Another World.
Mhm.
They're pretty good, big in terms of at least on the West Coast, anyways. They have kind of multiple shops, and
Wow.
so yeah, and it's pretty. Being here and at least in this area of the Northwest in Portland, there's a lot of comic book shops, so that's pretty cool. I think within at least drive-in distance, I probably have at least 10 to choose from.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Some of them kind of come and go, but it's it's a good location to be in terms of like comic books.
Oh, that's
And
fantastic.
yeah, and we have like the Rose City Comic Con in the fall, and we just had Fan Expo a couple months ago.
Nice.
And
Nice.
yeah, in Seattle being 3 hours away, you get like was it Emerald City Comic
Yes.
Con? Yeah, which
Have
is
you ever done that show?
I haven't. No. For me, I'm kind of like just getting back in from the last few years. I kind of grew up with comics. I didn't grow up here, so I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up in Rhode Island. And,
Oh, Rhode Island. I spent years in Rhode Island. That's
oh,
awesome.
did you? Oh,
Yeah, my
okay.
grandparents were from there, and I would spend every summer with them.
Oh, okay. You do seem to have like an East Coast sort of.
I'm from New York. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I was gonna
yeah.
say you don't sound like you're from Dallas.
Don't ask me to say coffee.
Yeah, all right, yeah. I sometimes gonna watch my like when I was saying Dark Horse, the East Coast was coming out, so I had to like watch how I was pronouncing it. It's like Dark Horse, but
Yeah, I've already been
So-
in Texas for 3 years.
oh, okay. Oh, all right, nice. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I grew up in Rhode Island, but I've actually been here in Portland for like 23 years, so it's kind of been half and half basically in terms of my life. But yeah. So I grew up in Rhode Island, and as a kid, grew up during the '90s boom, comics '90s boom. So like a lot of people my age, middle age, kind of grew up with Image Comics coming out, and Valiant Comics, and
Yeah, Valiant. Right.
X-Men #1 and all that stuff, and the trading cards and all
Yeah.
that. And
Cross Gen. Remember Cross Generation Comics?
Cross Gen sounds familiar. I remember like
They came out. They were trying to compete with Image, and
okay.
and it was, I forgot, Mark Waid, I think it was funding it, and I mean, they had the most amazing website, and they had like Scion, SCION, and they had Vigil.
That sounds familiar. The
Yeah,
sign,
Yeah, they had Vigil. They had all the, and they were scooping up all the best, and they were paying handsomely, but they were just burning money left and right, and I think only lasted like a year and a half, 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I remember like Malibu and can't ever remember the name that had like Dark Dominion and like Plasma. Like I don't remember those guys, like Plasma Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
They were just like a small one, but yeah. So all those comics were coming out, and I mean that was a great time. I mean I think for most of my middle school and like most of my high school years, I was like into comic books and collecting and so forth. And I kind of fell out of it, like kind of a little bit once I went to college and everything, just because time and money, it just wasn't there. But I've always been into comic adjacent stuff. I mean, I've always been obsessed with movies, books, sci-fi, horror. So if it wasn't comic books, it was something at least pretty similar. At least reading sci-fi novels and things like that, and obviously always obsessed with movies.
Right.
But I did get back into it though, probably about 4 years ago, collecting comic books and reading them again, but actually through YouTube and watching YouTube shows, just sort of kind of just coming across them kind of on my feed, and just realizing like, oh, I kind of was always curious about that character or the title, and just wanting more information about it, or just kind of nostalgia, and so just wanted to like get back into it and learning more. And so I just decided like, I know there was comic book shops around, and I was actually moving here to Milwaukee, and knowing that there was a comic book shop down the road, and so walking there, I was like, all right, let's check this out. And so I started collecting again and just reading again.
Right.
And so
let's go back and capture that first experience when you first walked into a comic shop. What age were you? Where were you? And then what was that experience like?
Yeah, I mean, when I was like a little kid, I mean, there was like the spinner racks at drugstores.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would always look at that, was just something. And they were always near like the checkout. So I'd always look at that like along with magazines and stuff. And once in a while, my mom would pick up one for me, and I couldn't read, but it was always fun to look at the pages. I mean, I remember obviously the first time I got car sick was looking at an Avengers comic book in the car driving home. When it was one of the first comic books I ever got. And so, it was like the first time I ever got sick too in a car, just looking at the comic book.
Was it a station wagon?
Ooh, what was it? I don't know. It's definitely not a good car, that's for sure. We had junkers for most, definitely grown up. I don't think my mom got a new car until she was probably like 30 something. So
I used to read my mom's Archie comics in the station wagon in the back, and I would just lay down and read it.
But I learned very quickly that I can't read in a car because motion sickness very easily, unfortunately. Be a good way to occupy time, but it has not worked out. But then as I got older, like I said, when once I was like in junior high, there was even though I was like in a small suburb, there was at least like 4 comic shops around that I could just get to either walking or like riding my bike. And there was this one, I always remember because the guy was super cool. Like he had just opened it up. He was a young guy, this guy Curtis, and it was called Adam Pinhead's World of Comics. And I just always remembered that name. I just thought it was like an interesting name at the time, and he was just a super nice guy. And at the time, I was collecting Darkhawk, because Darkhawk had just come out, and he'd always refer to me as Darkhawk. It's like, oh hey, it's Darkhawk, come on, I got the new issue. And my friend was collecting Hulk at the time, so he'd call him Hulk. And so he was a good guy, but he ended up selling it pretty quickly after to become an electrician. And he sold it to some glam metal guys that were not as friendly, so that was unfortunate. But and then there was the other comic shops where there was some older guys running them who maybe a little bit cranky, but and they were smoking in the shop, and they're probably even drinking in the shop too, but it was what was around, and so it was fun though. But and there's a lot of baseball card stuff too at the time.
That's awesome. I remember there was a comic shop. I lived in Kew Gardens in Queens, and there was a comic shop up the hill, and it was a small little shop. And I would stop at the bank because the bank would give you free lollipops. So I get me my lollipops, and then I go to the comic shop, and he would just let me sit on the floor and read comics. I was a kid. Nice. Yeah. And so I always find that your first introduction to the genre or to comic books is different from the moment when you decide, hey, I want to try my hand at this. So at what point was it that triggered that for you? And then what was it that inspired it?
So have been writing for a number of years, and mostly short stories, some screenplays. With the screenplays, more just for fun, maybe entering them into some competitions, with varying results. But even if you win like a screenplay competition, it's kind of like, oh, it's nice, but doesn't really lead to anything. It's kind of just nice for yourself. And with the short stories, I've had several or a handful published in different journals, online and in print, which is great, but at the same time, a lot of like literary journals, they don't last very long. I mean, even the most popular or most read ones don't last more than several years before they have to fold. Those are
Right.
kind of like a thing of, passion for the creator, the people running those journals. And so, just doing that after a number of years, I had written basically the story for this comic book, the Dirty, the Filthy, and the Dead, as a horror. Well, it started off basically as a flash fiction piece that got published in a journal. And there was a part of it that kind of stuck with me that I liked. And I decided to expand that into a longer short story. And I was trying to publish that into some horror journals or horror magazines, which there aren't too many of. And it was a little bit too long for most of the journals because the story itself is about almost 8,000 words. And most journals look for maybe about 5,000 words at most. And so, I still like the story, and I'd gotten some feedbacks from some people saying maybe I should try to turn it into like a novella. But, I didn't really feel like I could really go that route. I felt like it was kind of a complete story.
Yeah.
But I had written it and gotten that feedback while I had just gotten back into comics. And I thought, well, I'd always gotten good critiques about my dialogue, saying that the dialogue was, kind of snappy and, naturalistic and so forth. And so I thought, well, maybe I should actually give this a shot as a comic book. I'd always want to create my own comic book.
Right.
So I started just looking into it, contacting some people, looking for an illustrator, and just kind of got the ball rolling.
Nice. So let's talk about that. So when you decided to write your first book, did you do any research on how to write scripts, or what was your structure for it?
Yeah, I did like a little bit of research. There, wasn't a whole lot. The kind of seemed like the consensus was there's no like official way to write a comic book script. It's kind of like, yeah, you can kind of use this method or this method, but it's not like a screenplay where there's a bit more structure where it's like, this is how you should write a screenplay. When I was looking into writing a comic book script, it's like, it's a little bit close to like a screenplay, but
Yeah.
it's nothing official. It's just, can the artist follow what you're trying to create? Is it readable for the person illustrating it, basically?
Right.
And so, I had the background of writing some screenplays, and, I got software just because it just made it easier for me. And so I just started using the software I bought had like a comic template that came with it. And so I used the comic template and just went from there, and it was pretty similar to like a screenplay template. Just not as maybe just a little bit more loose, I should say, or not as many elements to it.
Yeah. So now, looking for an artist, was there a specific look you had in mind? And then how long or how challenging was it for you to find that artist?
It was very challenging. It was a kind of pain in the ass, actually. I initially contacted one artist. She had she was in like a horror anthology that was actually published through a publisher here in Portland. And, out of the blue, I just like contacted her like, hey, I enjoyed what you did in this book. I'm looking into, starting a comic book. Here's the premise. If you'd like to read the story, I'll forward it to you. And she responded, and I sent her the story. She seemed game, and we started corresponding. And we actually corresponded for quite a while. She even did like a couple of pages for me, and they actually looked pretty good and stuff. But she had to back out because she just wanted to concentrate on her own stuff, which was, I get it, but we're talking about maybe like 6-9 months easily, if not maybe more, that we were kind of just going back and forth and then creating the 2 pages that she had created. And so, I get it, it happens, but just at that point though, I was just like, ooh, what do I do from here? I was just, because, that was kind of like my first step, and it felt like, hey, it's all going correctly. It's all going right.
Right.
But, I should have known. Now looking back, it's like, okay, that's just kind of par for the course. At least for, most people, it seems. At that time, though, I had before all this, I wasn't on any social media. I just kind of wanted to stay away from it. I waste enough time doing plenty of other things that are time wasters. But I realize, if I want to connect with people and, make connections and meet people, I'm gonna have to get on social media. So I got on Twitter or X, and that's where I kind of started connecting with people and meeting people.
Yeah.
And getting more advice, and which was good because I think that's where I probably have learned the most is talking through people on X. Yeah. And so I started looking for people on X. I did connect with one person who, who wanted to illustrate for me, and we started talking. And what happened there though was really weird. I don't know if it was a person or a person using AI, because the page that they sent to me was just it was so lifeless and so like very much word for word for what I said, that there was just nothing creative about it. And so I was like, I know you created this page, but maybe you can just give me like half my money back or something like that. They're like, no, I'll do it many, 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 many times. I was like, many, many times. What do you? So I was like, well, I'll give you, all right, like try doing this instead. And so they did it. But once again, it was just like, so like on the nose and so like lifeless. Once again, I was like, all right, if we have maybe 2,000 years, maybe you'll get it correct. one page we're talking about. I was just like, I just didn't. I was like, all right, that's cool. And they're like, all right, you want to do the next page? It's like, I'll get back to you. So like that was unfortunate there, but eventually I did connect with the illustrator I'm currently working with, and so far so good. So yeah, happy there. But yeah, I think social media is really what it has helped me in terms of finding the illustrator that I'm currently working with.
Yeah, I find the best places to find them are either like I got it right here. DeviantArt, ArtStation, or Fiverr.
Yeah,
those are the best places to find. Fiverr, what I like about Fiverr is that you're protected and the artist is protected, whoever you're hiring, because once the way I do it when I hired somebody from Fiverr, the way I did it was I put my terms and I say I need to just see. At that time I was looking for a colorist. I just need to see your coloring on one page before I make my decision. And so I would get the samples from multiple creators and I would put my terms and my prices, and then they would bid on it. So the people would bid on it. And then once I found that right person, then what happens is I put the money in escrow. Fiverr holds it until the project's completed. And then you agree that to the final product, and you just said, yes, I'm pleased with everything. Then they release it to the creative. So everyone's protected. And so you're not getting scammed. So it's in their best interest to finish the project, because they don't want a bad rating on Fiverr, because you have to have an account with them. And then on DeviantArt, I find that when you post that you're looking for an artist on the forum, lock it, right? So what I do is you have to have an account, right? And so what I did was I said, here are my terms. I'm looking for an artist, this many pages, this is the page rate, blah, blah, blah. And then I lock it so you can't respond to it. Serious inquiries, go to my main page and hit me up there. And because what happens is you have people who'll say, oh, your page rates suck, or, all that other stuff you don't want. So, and then the serious ones will come over, and I found one of my artists for that book Forbidden that I was talking, that you saw. But those, I found those are the best places that I found creatives.
Yeah. So I actually used Fiverr for my cover B. It's actually one of the first places I actually did look. And I did it, and he actually did my logo too for my Graveyard Ape publications, and he did a good job. I kind of wish I'd done it the way you were talking about though too. The thing was, it was just price wise, it was just a bit too much. And I didn't really do it the way you talked about in terms of like putting up terms and stuff.
Yeah, I did my own pricing.
Yeah. So I kind of wish I'd done it that way, because I had just saw his stuff and I contacted him, and then kind of went from there and kind of just did by his rates. Which he was good, but I couldn't have done a whole book with him because the rates were just too high for me. So that's why he did the cover and the logo, which are good. But yeah, that's why I kind of was like, oh, this is a little too much. So I looked on X. But the guy who I do work with, the illustrator, he is on DeviantArt. I just happened to find him on X.
Okay.
But he does work on DeviantArt.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So now you were saying that I just want to say that Casey said he's been there, done that, trying to find talent, and then DeviantArt is full of great artists and a lot of hidden gems there. Yeah, absolutely. But you said that one of the things that you wanted to see from the artist that was using AI was their interpretation of your story and how they would take it in, either elevate it or whatever it is. So how much creative space do you give to the artist? How's that relationship?
Yeah, I mean, it's been like a little bit of a learning curve because this is my first book I'm creating. But I also realize, like, I'm not paying the guy $1,000 a page.
Right.
So, and I also know he's got other work to complete. And so I realize I can obviously have some, demand a little bit of something, but at the same time, I need to be realistic in terms of, his page rate of what I'm paying him and his time, that this isn't going to be his main focus all day, every day.
Right.
And so it's just having realistic expectations. But just, talking it up beforehand and, he's read the story, he's read the script, and we've kind of gone back and forth in terms of like, this is, what we want the book to, portray and show. And this is, the atmosphere we want to, create. And I think I did my best in terms of the script, in terms of being very specific, in terms of how I want things to look and, what the panels look like and so forth. But, we're working on a page right now, and I kind of gave him some ideas of what it should look like. And he was like, I think it would actually flow better with less panels. And he showed me his idea, and he's like, oh yeah, you're right. The less panels actually works better. It flows better.
Right.
He's actually worked on previous books. And so, I depend on his experience as an artist and his past experience working on other books.
Yeah. I always defer to I'm an artist myself because I write and draw my own books, but for Forbidden, I worked with Anibal Arroyo, who did the first couple of issues of Forbidden, and then I had another person finish the book. And what I find was, because I'm an artist, I know that each artist, when they love the project, they'll go all in, right? And then they'll provide a different perspective that you never even considered. And so I'm very flexible because I respect the artist. And so I write a script as, by page, panel, like page 1, 4 panels, panel 1, this person, bird's eye view, but I describe everything. I go to the letters just like a screenplay. So they have but then they're able to interpret it. I remember seeing some pages from Anibal where he took the camera, he just turned it around, and he created a different viewpoint, which was more stunning than what I first envisioned. Right. Do you find that as you go on, that the trust grows with the artist, where they have more creative liberty?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was seeing like the first few pages that he did and seeing that the cover he came up with, it's like, oh, okay, like we're on the same page. He gets what I'm trying to do. And just like I said, this last page that we were working on and realizing like, oh, my ideas weren't that good for it, and his ideas were better. It's like, he knows his craft and he's been at it for a while.
Right.
And so from there, and I think the communication has been good as well too. So it's not like I email him and wait for an email 2 weeks later. He's pretty quick to respond to my email. So I think that's good too. The communication back and forth. I'd be worried if I emailed him or messaged him and I was waiting, days or a week or two, so I think just the open line of communication is good. Right. And that, just having that trust right there, him just responding to everything that I send his way.
Right. So now you have a unique title: The Dirty, the Filthy, and the Dead. So, one, what inspired you to go to that genre of writing, storytelling, and then where did the title come from?
Well, it is horror with a bit of comedy. I've always been, even as a teenager, a little kid, a fan of obsessed with like kind of horror movies or the macabre or so forth. I mean, I think a lot of people are, and in some of I think really of the screenplays I've written, the majority have been at some sort of horror-esque sort of screenplays. So it's just something that's always just been with me. I think it's just the movies I've saw most to as a kid.
Yeah.
The original flash fiction piece that got published was about a class reunion, and it was 1,000 words long, but there was one part of it that I was kind of focused on, or that stuck with me. And it's about this family that is having dinner, and their house is on a sinkhole, and it gets falls into the sinkhole, and this guy's driving by and he's remembering that family because he had just had attended his class reunion. And so as he drives by, he talks about that family that died in the sinkhole incident. And so I liked that portion of the story, and so I extended that into a longer story, which is The Dirty, the Filthy, and the Dead. But what the premise is that these individuals come to this class reunion, and what happens is that they basically are forced to kind of relive their sins and their past, trespasses, and they kind of get their comeuppance while they're there. But the dirty and the filthy are kind of basically the people. They're kind of like the scumbags who kind of get their just desserts at the class reunion.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now you create your book, you find your artist, you get the finished product. Let's see what it says. Spooky T. Literally, the worst nightmare is a sinkhole, terrifying force of nature lurking suddenly. Yes, absolutely. Imagine driving and then the ground opens up and you get swallowed. That's just crazy. That's crazy. I can't even fathom. Yeah. So now I noticed that this was your first project on Kickstarter?
It is, yeah.
All right. So that Kickstarter in itself is a full-time job. Just running a campaign, trying to promote the campaign. So what made you go crowdfunding route? And then since it was your first time, what was that experience like? And did you do any pre-work before then? What was your takeaways from that experience?
Yeah, well, so initially when I got that first illustrator, I was talking about who she, had her own work to do, but we had created a few pages. We initially were going to do this and maybe propose it to Image Comics. But then she decided, like, well, I'm trying to create my name on Kickstarter, so I'd rather do a campaign. I was like, okay, I mean, that's fine if that's the route you want to go, if that will make this happen, because I just wanted to create the book and, get the book done.
Right.
And so I was like that, and I was like, maybe our chances with trying to get, it published with Image are probably pretty, minimal anyways. So let's do that route. And she had already had a bunch of campaigns on Kickstarter that were successful. And so I think with that, it kind of just got Kickstarter in my head. I didn't at that time. I don't think I knew about Fund My Comic, and I think I barely had really looked at Indiegogo. So really, it was just kind of like that seed of Kickstarter was just in my head, and I don't know, for some reason I think I just had tunnel vision. It's like, all right, it's just Kickstarter. It was just the one I knew, and I was just like, I'm just going to go Kickstarter route. Right. So even though after she left the project, I just had it in my head that I was just going to do Kickstarter. And I think it was just the one also I had already kind of had looked into and learned the most about. And so I was, and I maybe just out of laziness, I was like, I don't feel like learning all of them at once. I figure like I'll just learn one and I'll try to, master this one at least as much as I can for the campaign. And sorry, was the second part of your question?
And then what were your takeaways from that experience?
Oh, so that's where kind of X came in really like handy, because meeting other comic book creators, a really good person, Dio, he does this comic called Tome of Reckoning, that's on Indiegogo, and he'd done some other campaigns, and so he's one of the first people I kind of connected with on X, and he answered a lot of questions for me in terms of like campaigning. and like printing and just basic questions, anything I had. He was really like eager, willing to answer my questions. I could just DM him. I can still, just DM him. And he's a really nice guy. So yeah, Dio Toma Reckoning. Look up his comic. Good stuff. So just meeting guys like people like him on X that are just willing to, help other creators. And then from there, I learned like, okay, I should try to get on, either create my own YouTube show or try to get on other people's shows to campaign. And some of the things I did were create like bookmarks and stuff and like hand them out at conventions and hand them out at comic book shops that had like, a QR code when the campaign, at least the pre-launch page was up. So to try to get people to, be aware of the pre-launch page. One thing I did, which, I don't think really worked out, but at least I gave it a try, was I did like a screen ad at my local theater because it wasn't that expensive. And, I told the guy like, hey, this is only gonna be up for a month anyways. Can you kind of cut me a deal? And so he did. So I put up like a screen ad at my local theater just to see if that would generate anything. And so stuff like that. And, coming on shows like this and asking other creators like yourself questions about like, hey, what else should I be doing? And so, but yeah, I mean, it has been busy. It's kind of like like an easy job, but like a second job, but like a part-time job you like, but it's like you still don't want to go to, but when you're there, it's like, oh, all right, it's not that bad.
Right.
Okay, so it kind of feels like that.
Yes. Is it? Yeah. That's definitely is just interesting point to promotion in the theater. I like that. Yeah. So did you do a 30-day campaign?
I did. Yeah. It was a full 30 days. I think initially I was going to do like a little longer, but then I kept on hearing like the shorter the campaign, usually the more successful. And I was like, well, I mean, maybe I'll just try to do the 30 days. And so, yeah, I did 30 days. I got kind of lucky though, in terms of just help from, the people who know me immediately, like friends and family and so forth. They were very generous with their donations. But so right now it's, I got funded for this one. I'm going to get it printed and out. But the idea is to just get more people outside of my circle, though, interested in to get book 2 out there, because I think book 2 is going to be more of the challenge. Because I think this first one has been more of a novelty for the people who know me, and they're like, oh, this is cool, interesting thing. But I think book 2 is going to be as much of a novelty for them to contribute the way they did this time.
Yes, and that's the truth, and it's a good thing that you realize that, because same thing with us. Our first campaign, everybody and their grandmothers wanted to come and support, but they don't stay with it. They're there for the initial launch, and then then they're gone, right? So it's up to you to cultivate that following and get the word out and go on that whole press tour and get as many podcasts as you can, and it's the reason why us, even at Catch the Craze, I mean, we're members of like 20 different social media platforms where we just promote, because you can't leave it to fate, right? And there's a reason why I do shows, I do conventions, and I do book signings, because that's why I find most of my fan base comes from events, not from Kickstarter.
Okay. Yeah. So do you think that's the best thing, if like once I have like my printed book in hand, is to just put it out there in front of people, like at conventions and in comic book shops and stuff?
Yeah, you're very lucky, because you said you got 10 within driving distance comic stores. I would work with those comic shops and get them on your shelves, do in-store signings. It doesn't cost them a thing, right? And do in-store signings. It's free. Comic book day is a great day to do in-store signings as well, because that's when they have an audience of big lines. Community centers, your libraries, small venues, where street fairs, where they have like outdoor fairs. There's a lot of ways that you can do it with. It's going to minimal expense to you, but big gains in marketing. So I think that's where I would start, and then start building up, and then maybe do 2 to 3 bigger shows a year, but steer away from celebrity focused Comic Cons, because they're not there for the regular guys. So if all the marketing is about the celebrities and the only thing that's related to Comic Con is the name, then you know that it's not the show that where you're going to be successful. You want to go to a show where there's the majorities for comic books. You want comic book vendors and you want independent and local artists. You'll do extremely well in those venues. So that's why I would start when you're entering the game with a new product.
Okay. Sorry if you don't mind me asking one more question.
Yeah, sure.
Like, so if I don't have, like, let's say, like, I got book one coming out, or I have book one, and there is like a convention or something going up, but my next campaign isn't yet happening. Like, should, in terms of like the contact, be maybe just my social media accounts then?
Yeah, create a QR code that links it to your social media,
Social
or
media.
if you have a landing page for your next campaign, because you don't have to launch it, you can create a landing page, and then and create a QR code for that landing page, and have them sign up to the landing page to be notified when you launch. So you don't have to have the product. Like, you can create a landing page today and not launch till October, right? But when your book is ready. So, but what happens is now once it's approved, and then all you have to do is create a QR code, have that, and then say, here, you can have it on your phone and just say, here, sign up to for book number 2. We're going to be launching in the fall or whatever it is. Sign up for book number 2. And any way you can do to cultivate that following and then keep it top of mind, because now that they signed up, they'll get an alert from Kickstarter when you launch.
Yeah. So people do that. They'll create landing pages that far ahead.
Yeah, I have what I created my landing page for this campaign. I created it, I think, in December. I don't launch till April.
Yeah. Okay. Because it's one of those things I could read on Kickstarter. Like, yeah, you can do it like 2 or 3 months like ahead of the campaign launch.
No.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. That's good. That's good thinking. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. That's what I do when I do shows. I have a QR code. So when they buy the books, I said, hey, if you like the book and you want the next issue, the campaign launches April 1st. Sign up today. It's a great way to promote. Number one, now Kickstarter pulls the information. So when you launch, you have their contact, you have their email, right? And then when you send them a survey at the end of the campaign, would you like to be notified when we launch the next campaign? Now they're part of that email newsletter. Hey, would you like to sign up for a newsletter in your survey? If they say yes, now you have that in your database, and you can send out monthly newsletters to keep everybody, send them short little stories tied to your book that has, right? And you can send them like a 2 paragraphs to just keep them enticed until you launch the book. There's so many ways to cultivate that fan base and keep them engaged while you're working on the back end.
Yeah. And in terms of like, I should probably stick with Kickstarter since that's where I began with this kind of, at least with this series of books.
Yeah, I mean, you picked the right platform. Kickstarter has it's most recognizable. It's the most successful. It's saturated. I mean, it has a lot of comic, right? So you're competing with the world. But it's harder on Indiegogo because Indiegogo, it's almost like a club, right? It has a specific following on Indiegogo, and unless I've barely were successful on Indiegogo, so I stick with Kickstarter. I've had 2 campaigns on Indiegogo and both different results. So I stick now to Kickstarter, because all of my campaigns, although I'm not breaking the bank, all been funded on Kickstarter. Yeah. Not all of them on Indiegogo were funded. So I steer away from there. And then over time, I have 200 people on my email distribution list that backed my books throughout the years. So I keep them top of mind where the next one's coming. And then, hopefully, 30% of them come back, right? Statistically, not everybody comes back, right? And then sometimes people forget, they move on, they grow out of it, whatever it is. So, but that's why you have to just find creative ways to keep connecting with everyone.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, thank you for that information. That's good stuff.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I have a segment on this podcast called The Craze and Channel Less. There's a lot of insight into Kickstarters and publishing. And the 10-minute episodes is probably the most popular segment on this show is that 10-minute, The Craze and Channel Less. It's a lot of good info, but I'm always, we share, and that's what we're known for. If you watch my vlog on The Art of Samuel on YouTube, I will give you behind the scenes on setting up your booths, on traveling, on the real deal about conventions. You should stay away from conventions that that'll be really good for independents. So a lot of good content we share, because I think sometimes people want to paint the picture that everything's great and gravy, but that's not the real. That's not real life.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just be excited just to like get the physical book in my hand once it's printed. That right there is going to be like a big win.
Yes.
So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hopefully, though, the next 3 issues that happen too, though.
Yeah. So now, are you planning on doing any shows?
Yeah, I guess it depends on timing wise. I hope to have, it printed and shipped out to people by June. So
Nice.
yeah, I think the PDFs, by June. So, and so, whatever, I know Rose City is not until fall though. But I'd like to get book 2 happening by fall. Maybe time it for like Halloween, since it is like a horror book.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I was trying to time this one, and it was really hard timing it this first issue, because it just depended on so many different things happening.
Right.
So yeah, that's definitely something I'm working on in terms of timing when things will launch. Not, so that was a difficult road to try to figure out.
Right. No cost to you. That won't cost you anything. What I would suggest you do is take the PDF, go to your local comic shops, go to the comic shops within driving distance, and say, "Hey, look, I'm releasing my first comic. I would love to be able to have a table on a Saturday or whatever it is, and introduce it to your customers. What do you think? How is it possible to get it on your shelf? I can, some of them might say you got to do it on consignment. That you get paid when it sells, or some would say, what's 50% off the cover price. Here's your money. We'll take 10. So that's a way where you can do events without paying, without losing any money, without paying for travel, paying for a booth, paying for all that stuff. Just take what you have and just set up a table. Just have to have a sign with your name on it. You don't have to have any bells and whistles. Just have your books, and it's a great way to get your rhythm as you're navigating into space.
Yeah. No, I definitely hope to be doing that.
Yeah. That's how I do it. It's like when I don't want to travel, I'll contact a comic shop out here and I'll say, "Hey, yo," and they've all been so accommodating. So I've made a lot of good contacts. One owner has 4 locations, so he's like, "Whenever you want any location, just let me know. We'll set it up." And
that's
and
awesome.
they also provide the table, so that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my recommendation to anybody coming into the game with their first project. Always find ways to not spend, and find ways where you can actually make money without spending money.
Yeah. Good advice.
No problem. All right. So long term, where do you see this going? How many issues do you have in the pipeline?
Yeah, so this is issue 1 of a 4-parter. So it's a mini series. And so yeah, hopefully, like I said, maybe issue 2 be coming out in the fall, and then depending on how issue 2 goes, maybe just so people don't have to wait, combining 3 and 4 into like a double issue to get them out quicker and not make it as long of a wait for people. But yeah, it's going to be a 4-part story, because the story it's based on is about 8,000 words, and so I've chopped it up into four parts. So this first issue is about 22 pages, and the same will be for issue number 2. And so yeah, so it's a regular size, like floppy. Yeah.
Nice. So here's your elevator pitch. I know that you have what is it? The catch up. What is it called on a Kickstarter right now? That you have the late bids, late
pledges.
Yeah, they took that idea from Indiegogo, right? So you got late pledges going on right now.
I do, yeah.
So you can still back the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Give us your elevator pitch. The dirty, the filthy, and the dead. Why should everybody go out there and get a copy?
So if you ever want to see like an episode of Seinfeld directed by David Lynch, this is your chance, or at least to read an episode of Seinfeld directed by David Lynch. It's it's got humor, but it's also horror. Like I said, it takes place. It's a class reunion where some scummy people get their comeuppance. There's a main character or antagonist. His name is Ralph. I like to say he's 1 part George Carlin, 1 part John Wayne Gacy. And what happens is that he puts on these stage plays where the party members at the reunion see their past sins come to life in these stage plays. And so the past meets the present, and you see them react to their sins, and then they kind of pay for these sins. But then in the later issues, you see how this came about, like who contacted Ralph, why Ralph, got in on this, and maybe who was getting revenge on these people and why.
Nice. Well, man, it was great talking to you tonight, and you're always welcome back. You have the link. Save the link. I always tell people, save the link. You know how to book a spot on the show. And thank you for being flexible. Unfortunately, I had to travel with work. And in fact, I have to reach out to a few guests because I just got new travel dates for upcoming shows, and then I got to reorganize. But thank you for being flexible. Normally, we on Tuesday nights, and we have a big audience. I don't normally do Thursday nights, but I didn't. I knew that I was booked for the next 2 months, and I just wanted to get you on this week.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so you're always welcome back. And people can find you on what social media platforms?
X and BluSky.
X and BluSky. Thank you, Stephen Barone.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's been good.
To you.
Thanks, man.
Peace. All right, that's Stephen. Oh, look at this. Bam. Oh, no, that's not that. There you go. All right, I got to get used to these stay screen stuff. It's just driving me nuts. All right, that's Stephen Barone. Fantastic. Great backstory. Lots of great stuff. Again, you heard from him. He's breaking into the game. He's got his new comic. He's going out there. Guys, find ways to not break the bank. When you're starting out, I know you want to tell the world, I'm here. I got this product. Look at me. But small bites, steps. It's almost like bricklaying, right? Make sure the foundation is leveled. You put that first brick, right? Put the leveler, put the cement on, right? The mortar. Then you add the other one, compress it, level it, boom. Small bites. You don't have to go to the big show right away. Build the audience, build that reputation. But yes, testify. Yes. So the question was, will I be in Tulsa, Oklahoma this year? I don't know what shows are in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I did take a couple months off to focus on the campaign. Two things. In April, I'm traveling for 2 weeks for work. 2 weeks in a row. I'll be in Canada 1 week, and then I'll be in California another week for work. So, and while running the campaign. So April, I had to cancel any shows that I was going to book for April. And then May, I will be sending stuff to the printers at the end of the campaign and doing all that stuff. So I didn't want to be traveling for Comic Cons during that time, but then I get back into the game right after that, and everything will be fulfilled in June. And so I just didn't want to take on too much, even though this year I wanted to go hard with a lot of shows. I realized that I got to play it smart because burnout is a real thing, and I don't want to burn out because I'm having fun creating and drawing. But some of you guys don't know that Duty has a soundtrack, and you guys weren't on the show earlier. But Duty does have a soundtrack, and there's a song called Duty from Uranus. And I played a clip of it earlier. Let me see if I can get it over here. If you want to hear it, somebody say, yeah. If you don't say, yeah, I'm not playing it. If you don't say, yeah, I'm not playing it. Let me see. I'm waiting. I'm counting down to 3 and 3 and 2. If I don't get a year. Oh, there it is. There's a year. All right. So here is just the chorus from Duty from Uranus, and you can only get it on Kickstarter.
Green alien trying to stay unseen. Herman thinks he's a jalapeno, bright and mean. But he's not a pepper, no, he's not that hot. He's just an alien trying to avoid getting caught.
All right, that's it. That's the clip. That's the chorus. So Duty has a 5-song soundtrack coming out. It'll be available on the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter is crazy. This Kickstarter is crazy. I got 3 variant covers with 3 different endings. And only one is the right one, and you'll only know when you get it in the mail because you get a special prize when you buy the right cover. There's a variant cover, an homage cover to Fantastic Four #1. Duty's bringing back the Pogs. Duty's bringing back the Pogs. Look at that. What? He's going back. He's bringing back old school, and Duty's got the limited edition trading card set as well for this campaign. It is amazing. There's so much going on in this campaign. I'm so excited about this. It's a good year. Herman got his own story. Herman's the Chihuahua in this series. He's got his own story coming out on Free Comic Book Day in May. I'll be doing an in-store book signing. It's going to be fun. We're on tour. We're doing a book tour. The fan base is growing. Oklahoma, you guys rock. That Comic-Con was the best Comic-Con. I'm telling you, that Saturday was the best turnout ever. I couldn't keep the stuff on the table. It was fantastic. Thank you. You guys were amazing. The panel was amazing. Thank you for Gabe's Cave for hosting me on a panel. I was there with Laurie Cacatera, and we were talking about breaking into indie comics and how we do what we do. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that stuff. Hanging out with my boy, George the Dreamer Medina. He was out there with me. And let me know if you like the chorus. Jeez, you don't get silent on me. Yes, you should be jamming because somebody needs to come up with a duty dance. I'm just saying. And there is a song called Duty Juice. Michael San Martino, if you're out there, there is a song called Duty Juice. And maybe I'll play the chorus next week for Duty Juice. I'm only giving you snippets. But yeah, I'm excited. This year, a lot's happening with Duty and Herman. I feel excited. The art book, The Art of Duty. I've received 3 submissions so far for the Art of Duty book. It's a 200-page art book, which will be launching in the fall on Kickstarter. That book will be distributed in bookstores nationwide. And in honor of Duty 20-year anniversary, I'm accepting 20 artist renditions of Duty. And each of those artists will be featured in the book. So all I will need is a QR code to where your website or your social handle with your name and the art piece, and it'll be featured in the book. I even have a special little Duty art by a young lady who's a real big Duty fan, Penny, who did her version of Duty. Duty's wearing a dress, but it's okay. Duty's all right. He's okay. He's comfortable. Duty is comfortable. But yes. So with that said, next week, who do we have on next week? Let's see. So next week, yes, I'm waiting for your. Oh, wait. What'd you say? What'd you say? I need to draw a dancing Duty after hearing the soundtrack. Oh yeah. How many do you have filled? Oh wait, I'm frozen. What's going on? My screen is frozen. Uh-oh. I'm not doing the robot. I'm frozen. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me. But yes, I'm waiting for my screen to stop freezing, and I can tell you how many have you filled. So 3 are filled. I got 17 slots open. I do have audio still in. Okay, cool. So I do have 6 artists that I'm waiting on that said, "Hey, oh, awesome! I'm doing a piece for you for the Art of Duty book." So 6 artists pending. I've received 3 so far. Thank you, Lou. Let's go. Penny, for submitting your artwork, and I posted it on social media as well. And I will be sharing it when we go live on the campaign launch. I'll be sharing all of the submissions live on the campaign, so that's going to be dope. Oh, I can make one since I'm getting caught. Oh, look at that! Awesome sauce. Yes. So so I'm excited about that. So the deadline is April 5th because I'll be formatting the book, getting everything. I'll be getting a prototype printed because I want to have the prototype ready for the launch of the campaign in the fall, which will probably be in October for the Art of Duty. Again, it's a 200-page art book, and again, that one's going to the bookstores nationwide. So I'm excited about that. So this is going to be fun. And then we're celebrating Duty's 20th birthday. So what more can I say about that? But I'm excited. I've seen some great stuff coming down the road. George is going to be here next week. And let's see. That's what I was telling you guys. So who's on the show next week? We have, let me pull up. Next week we have, here it is. Yes. Braxton Cosby. He has his own studio. Here it is. Braxton Cosby. He's a novelist, a writer, an actor, an entrepreneur, and his uncle is Bill Cosby. Go figure. So be on the show next week. He's doing a lot of things. When you look at his resume, there's too much to even say. So we're just gonna bring him on, and he's gonna be able to share that with us. So that's gonna be a fun show. George will be back for that one. George is gonna have to do his homework and go and read up on him because George's the research guy. I'm too busy creating Duty. So it's going to be fun. That's going to be an exciting show. Join us next week, Tuesday. We'll be back on Tuesday. with that episode. And got caught up. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Next week is gonna be crazy. So with that said, if you haven't done so already, click that link, hit that QR code. Where is that dang thing? There it is. Hit that QR code, scan it right now. Head over to Kickstarter, sign up. At the last I checked, 47 people have signed up. I got 200 people on my email list. Let's make this the best one ever. I mean, I'm pulling out all the stops. I got limited edition trading cards tied to the book. I got pogs tied to the book. I got prints and stickers tied to the book. Dude, he's got a soundtrack. He's gonna be jamming, right? It's gonna. And then I got contests galore. So it's gonna be fun. Spread the word. Help me spread the word. Tell everybody where you found it. If you like this episode, give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Share it with a friend. We are the longest running independent comic book podcast in the game. We're the first of its kind, founded in 2005. For indies by indies. We did it because we knew we needed to spotlight creators like us, right? And everybody else was running towards the big guys when they had all the marketing budget in the world. They didn't need any help. So we needed to spotlight us. So when we grow, the independent community grows. So if you're listening to us on Spotify or iHeartRadio, head over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, or on that platform, leave a comment, rate us, let the algorithms work in our favor, and recommend Catch the Craze podcast to your friends. With that said, I'm Sam, the Crazy Man Vera. Thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight, and I'll see you next Tuesday. We are out. It's just easy. It's not. Crazy. Acquiesce. No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met say my name, right? This is what you were thinking? Oh, my. He described me. He said, I'm the idiot. What?
Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. Candy girl.